Hello, and welcome back to our playthrough of The Adventurer. Today we are drawing our last event card. If you want a recap of the rules of the game and the story so far, please check out my previous episodes. But last week, our goblin protagonist recently encountered a fairy village that had been destroyed by a natural disaster indirectly caused by human magic. And she met her new goblin companion, who hopefully we're going to get to learn more about this week. So, without any more further to do, let's get a drawn. Our event for this week is... Bum, dun, 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 Saw Death. Okay. That is an interesting one. I don't know what that means, honestly. I'm gonna have to... Interesting. I didn't know that was on the list. I've read most of this, but I didn't know about that one. Okay, this is an exciting one, and this is a really cool thing to happen just before she enters location. This is gonna set a tone. Oh my goodness. Well, let's see what the theme of the week is. Our theme this week is... Dun, 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 dun. Queen of Swords. Okay. And that signifies honesty, independent, principled, fair, constructive criticism, objective perspective. Okay. Interesting. Well, at least we know she's going to look at death with an honest gaze. Oh, this is a curious one. Oh, I'm looking forward to writing this. Anyway, let's see what I come up with. Lady of the Moon, are you there? I had not believed in you for some time now, but after today I don't know. There is more possible in this world than I had thought. Help me, Journal. Help me to think. Help me to decide what is real and what is not. I am getting ahead of myself. On the 16th day after I left the tunnels, Rapunzel bid me stay near the ruin of the fairy village one night longer. She did not say what was going to happen, only that she had to stay a night to see that something was done. Part of me suspected a fairy trap. Was it a trap? Was what I saw today merely a fairy trick? An illusion? Help me, Journal. Help me to decide. Perhaps... No. For as I write this, she has made good on her promise. She has led me clean out of the forest. No fairy has ever been known to leave the forest. Their illusions only lead you in deeper. More than that, I saw in her the sorrow I felt when I was 5 paces from the furthest point I have ever been from home. She is like me, a survivor of a broken world. I am distracting myself. I do not want to think about what I saw last night, but I must make sense of it. As night fell on the edge of the fairy ruin, we were visited by... what should I call it, Journal? A thing? A person? A god? I will call it a woman, for that is what I saw. I had made camp such as I could. I had made a fire, cleared a place to sleep, shared what food I had with Rapunzel. She did not eat much, but I made sure she ate something. Sitting at the edge of a calamity, I had not expected more surprises. I was wrong. She made no sound as she moved. so it startled me when she walked through the firelight. She looked like an old woman. To me, she looked like a goblin, but I gather to Rapunzel she looked different. She had long white hair, a cloak as black as dark tunnels that dragged on the ground. Her face was pale and sickly, but she moved without weakness. She carried a sickle, not a great scythe, just a humble one-handed gardening tool. But it was a weapon, or at least it seemed to be. I was quick to grab my knife. Goblin though she seemed, the last few weeks have frayed my nerves and left me edgy. Help me to think through my fear journal. I demanded who she was and what was her purpose. She did not answer and walked away. I pursued, tense, afraid, and angry. She approached the fairy village, the fairies that floated there by means of broken magic. I shouted my questions again. Rapunzel tried to stop me, calling for me, pulling my hair with her little hands. I ignored her. The old woman drew her blade and made to cut one of the fairies from the air. I did not know if this would be insult or injury, but I felt I had to stop it. I raised my knife and cut her. Help me, journal. Help me to understand what I felt when the blade went through her. Through it. If she were merely illusion, I would have felt nothing, like swinging the blade through empty air. But this was like trying to cut water. There was resistance, which proved she was really there, but the blade did nothing. And it was cold. So very cold. She turned to look at me. Lady of the Moon, protect me, but she looked me in the eye. Help me, journal. Help me to find the words to describe those eyes. She was death. That's the only way I can describe it. In the eyes were consuming darkness. There was no kindness in that face, but no malice either. The void that is the end of all looked at me in the eye and froze me to my core. Rapunzel tried to explain then that she came when a fairy died, that the magic of the village made her visible, that Rapunzel needed to see her come tonight to know that her people did not continue to suffer. I wanted to deny this. I want to deny it still. Help me, journal, to deny this. But I cannot. I could not deny it when the void stared into me. The question I asked. Help me, journal, to understand why I asked it. I had countless questions. I have them still. But I do not know where that question came from. And it came to my lips without me choosing to ask it. Where were you when my home burned? She said, I was there, next to you, next to each of your kin. When they fell, I was there with them. I took each of them with care. Help me, journal. Help me to come to peace with this. On that day, I cursed my goddess because I believed no one was there when my world burned. Perhaps. No. Enough of this. We approach the great temple of the Lady of the Moon. There are priests there, and I have questions. Well, that was session 6. Very interesting one, if I do say so myself. Setting up a lot of interesting themes that I hope to pay off in our destination sessions. Yeah, so looking forward to that. Not quite as much Rapunzel this week as I had hoped for, but we were somewhat distracted by the specter of death, so I think that's fair. Hopefully more about her in weeks to come. But yeah, come back next week when we will be drawing our first destination cards. So see you then.